Hello, I'm Adam Paul Morgan. Thank you for clicking on to what is my thoughts on T2 Trainspotting, the sequel to the original film. Yes, that's both of them there. Now, normally when the new film comes out, I do actually get it on Blu-ray, which I've done many in the past, but this time I thought I'd get it on DVD just so I can match with the original film. And if it was coming out on VHS, I probably would have got it on VHS. So, what can I say about the actual film? Because I hadn't seen the film until getting the DVD, which is out in the UK apparently on the 5th of June, and I managed to get my hands on this early. Aren't I lucky? So what can I say about the film? I think this film, including the first one, but mainly this one, I can see this being used as the film to study if you're doing film studies, media studies, or film education or whatever it is. I generally think that it was that visually brilliant, and I don't mean visually brilliant to say like one massive robot is fighting one massive monster or anything like that. I just mean visually the use of the camera work was brilliant. There's very funny how I can sort of describe that. Now on this limited edition DVD with the sleeve here, it's got the usual sort of trademarks of any film with all the stars and sort of newspapers giving it reviews and sort of film magazines and all that. But I think they generally mean it. That's Incredible, The Sun by Jamie East. That's one way of describing it. All the cast are back from the original. Ewan Brimmer is back, Jonny Lee Miller and Robbie Carlyle as that complete nutter we all know. Brigsby is back once again, and of course Danny Boyle is back as the director. And of course this particular one does come with a sleeve, and that's probably what's about limited with it. Orange case, I'll just show you the inside. That's the disc, and it does come with those wonderful digital ultraviolet codes as well, but I'm not going to show you my code because I haven't redeemed it yet, have I? No, that would be silly. But the film itself, of course it's a sequel, and obviously there seems to be a bit of a trend where sequels are coming out from films from 20 odd years ago. Example this, so they are playing on the nostalgia element of the film, but yes they are, but it's relevant to this story 20 years later. It's difficult to talk about the second one without giving too much away from this one if you haven't watched it already. That was a brilliant film, and this was the film way back in the day, in my early teens when this was on Channel 4 and I stopped up late to watch it, that made me go, film can be more than just, say, big robots versus big monsters. It can tell, a brilliant story, and you can do it visually brilliantly. 20 years later, probably just under 20 years later for me, we get this one, and I was absolutely on the edge of my seat throughout the entire thing, particularly the ending as well. It's brilliantly, I wouldn't say action sequence, but suspense sequence towards the end of the film, and of course the way the characters are sort of moved from where they are to where they're going, particularly now. And of course, it's got sort of, 20 years ago, no one had really heard of Ewan McGregor, but they do now, and Robert Carlyle as well, and Jonny Lee Miller, who I believe is in the Elementary sort of things, and he's done a couple of films himself. But this film, I generally believe, belongs to Spud, played by Ewan Brimmer. I don't know if I've pronounced that right, but if you don't know that guy there, his portrayal of Spud, humorous, emotional, and brings it all back down to a human level, which, I know these characters in real life. I don't say I know these people in real life, these particular people, but from years ago. Excuse me, just a cough. But I know these people. I know the characters from many years ago, and sort of reunite them like this as well is, what happened if these people, I haven't spoken to him in a number of years, but I do know a Sick Boy, I do know a Spud, I do know a Bedgley, and I do know a Rainton as well. They are human characters, which is told in this brilliant story. And yeah, that's the film. It was one of the best films I've seen in a good long time, particularly from Danny Boyle, who is one of my favourite directors. He's one of the directors where it is a Danny Boyle film. It's like if you watch a Ridley Scott film that has that sort of era about it, like Michael Bay has his sort of style of directing, and I like Danny Boyle's style of directing as well, and he's done loads of films that I've watched in the past. The sort of films you can't really watch them with your mum, if you know what I mean. Particularly 127 Hours, the original Trainspotting, you wouldn't really want to watch that with your mum in the same room, would you? But it's a really good film. It really is, and I would recommend this film. So yes, I would choose this DVD. I didn't get it on Blu-ray because it's not really the big Monster vs Alien film, and yeah, it still looks just as good through any sort of television. And like I said before, if I could get this on VHS, I would. But I can't because I don't even have a VHS player anymore. So, special features, what do you get with the special features? You do get the commentary with Danny Boyle and John Hodge, so I haven't listened to that yet, but I imagine it will be brilliant. I like listening to directors' commentaries. Ridley Scott is probably one of my favourite ones to watch a film all the way through because he likes to say things as he is. Going a bit off track there, but you know, most films and DVDs and Blu-rays and I suppose 4K do come with a number of deleted scenes. See that there? 29 deleted scenes, and I have watched all of them. And to be honest, it's not really like a full-blown, you know, 5-minute deleted scene. It's a lot of snippets cut down to what is actually in the film, like certain scenes where Bigsby, Robert Carlyle's character, is sort of in prison. It's just like a few snippets of there just to help the film flow better. But there is a few bits where a certain someone, without giving too much away, is sort of kidnapped in his own home. It doesn't really make the full film, but it's in the deleted films. And there's a lot of beer, bottles of beer, lager or whatever, that has been sort of blurred out. So I'm not sure why it was blurred out, but for some reason, I don't know, but if you do watch the deleted scenes, keep an eye out for the blurred beer. Of course, there is a sort of 20 years in the making from the original film to what it is now. And just going back to the actual film, there's a lot of stuff. Yes, it's the same production, Trainspotting to Trainspotting 2. There's a lot of the nostalgia of first film, second film. So I haven't written any script for this, I'm just free-rolling as I normally do, as you can tell. But there's a lot of stuff that involves the first film, so, you know, it does use a lot of the first film but doesn't, particularly that opening running scene from the first film. There's a lot of that is done brilliantly, just a sort of reminder for the audience, but not just for the audience, but for the characters to see where, you know, how far they've come. If you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just talking gibberish at the moment. But there is a special feature on the DVD that's not advertised on the box. However, it's really worth a watch to see real life addicts, particularly in the Scottish area, who sort of got together and made a football team, which is really, really interesting to watch and see. And it's not done as I describe it, you know, get the violin out or do the, you know, the sob story. For these things. No, it was really well done. I don't think it had anything really to do with the actual film, but just gives just as a little short real life thing to see how people are coming from addictions to sort of adrenaline junkies, as it were. You know, it's, you know, do sports and fitness and hiking and other things like that to get them. You know, give them a new addict, which is going back to the film. It's something that's rent and tell Spud. You know, to get off there, find yourself a new addiction. Obviously, if you're an addict, go for that, which works really well in the film. Now, I know I'm just blabbering on, but this film, I really was, for the type of film it was, I really was on the edge of my seat, particularly for the last 20 minutes of the film. You know, just. You know, really like that. I've watched quite a few of the Marvel films lately, and I've just sat back there. But this film, which is completely different from the superhero film, I really sat forward watching the film. Brilliant film, and I wouldn't say it surpasses the first film as sequels go. However, I would say they're very much equal. Not, you know, I wouldn't say that one is better than the other. It's a continuation. 20 years on from the original film, brilliant film, and I would recommend both of the films to anyone who's interested in particularly cinema and film, rather than, you know, your big So there we go. I'm Adam Paul Morgan. Thank you very much for watching Tarara Bits. Leave a comment in the box below, and please, if you do subscribe, you probably won't, but if you do subscribe, hit that notification button as well, so when I do stuff, you'll be notified. It's that simple. Thank you. Bye-bye.